Let me ask you something. Do you love the Dolphins? Do you think they are the greatest football team? How about the greatest show on surf? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, then fins up and surfs up to the greatest show on surf.shop today. Celebrate the most explosive offense in the NFL with this awesome exclusive merch. From jackets, hats, shirts, and more, they have it all. Use promo code FINSTALK and save 15% on your order. Show off your fandom. Don't wait. Go to thegreatestshowonsurf.shop today.
Welcome to On the Clock Draft Show presented by the Finstock Sports Network. As always, I'm new here. I'm your host, Josh Kimmel. Bobby was a little bit sick under the weather, I understand. That was me last week, the week before, and basically all of November, so I totally get it. So I'm here.
System ever.
Great, elite. It used to be elite, Coach. You don't know about that. You're like, all right, I've hit the wall. My immune system has hit
a hard wall.
Anyway, but we are, did I say presented by the Finstock Sports
Yep,
Network? I'm your host, Josh Kimmel, OUS on X. I don't post there anymore because of the toxicity. At Josh Wingate 302, and of course at FinsFan72, Coach Vogel. What is good, my guys? I heard this is the tight end show.
It is your favorite show. You love a good tight end.
Hey, I wanted to say this before we start off and we talk about our rookies because I have done zero research, but I'm here to host a show. That's what I'm here for. When we went to the Senior Bowl, Josh,
yes,
my top prospect, and I have it on X, my favorite player coming out of that was Trey McBride. I saw him. I knew he was going to be a superstar. I couldn't stop talking about him. Boy, is he blowing up. So maybe this is my show. Maybe I am destined to be the tight
ends. There you go. Tight end guy all the way around.
Yes, I am. I'm very tight. So we have some, what we got going on tonight? Some draft news and rumors. You want to get right into that, Joshua?
Yeah, we can jump right into it.
Latest news and rumors.
So we have some things per Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, and Mike Garofalo. Never heard of that guy. But the Giants, they could be possibly trading up in the draft per these reporters. Josh, Coach, initial thoughts on this? I mean, we're going to hear a lot of this stuff going on from here until draft day.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
Go ahead. No, not me, you.
I feel like this is a very quarterback heavy class. And so I think we're going to see a lot of people jumping, trying to get up high for that next quarterback to fill things in. So guys that don't necessarily need a quarterback, I see guys trying to teams maneuvering to get up there to find out, trying to get one of these guys that can fill their roster and be competitive. The next Mahomes, so to speak, that everybody's looking for.
Yeah, I just think I don't know if the Giants are necessarily going for a quarterback because they're still after the season saying we believe in Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
But it's the pieces that can help elevate Daniel Jones. Yeah. There's some really good wide receivers at the top. We got Joe Alt there that could plug and play at left tackle. I know they currently have a decent left tackle, but how comfortable are they in that situation? Could they move him over to the right side and just solidify that offensive line? I don't know if the Giants truly are trying to trade up. It could just be talk, but I think we're going to see a lot of teams try and jostle around and get their guys because there's some really good talent at the top of this draft.
Now, a follow-up on that, I just want to bring this up real quick, and maybe Coach can explain this to me. Now, we're going to hear a lot of people, they want to trade up. When we hear trade up this early in the offseason, because, let's be honest, the offseason pretty much just started today.
Right.
It's always trade up for quarterback.
Yep.
No one's really talking about the trenches. No one's really talking about the edge rushes right now.
Yep.
Giants don't seem like a team trading up. So who would you guys think they may be trading up for? I know Josh went on it a little bit, but Coach, can you expand?
Possibly one of the wide receivers. I know that they don't have there's Bobby chiming in there. I know they don't have probably the best wide receiver crew right now, so possibly a wide receiver or one of the trench guys maybe
Yeah.
on offense or defense. They got some real highly rated guys on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Or what if? Let me put this in there. What if it's Brock Bowers? We're talking about tight ends today. What if it's Brock Bowers? Because as you see in offenses, you can see wide receivers do great things, but tight ends kind of open up the offense to another level. So I think could be a Brock Bowers, could be a wide receiver. There's a lot of areas that they could go, and that's what makes me think maybe they just stay pat and they don't do anything. But it'd be interesting to see as the draft process goes on who's going to trade and who's not.
Yeah, you're definitely getting a lot of the trade talks going on. It's that time of year where they're going to sandbag guys and guys that really want. I'm not the highest person on Caleb Williams, but there's a lot of negative stuff coming out him, hoping that somebody's going to be dumb enough to pass up on him. For like him to fall to the Jets or whoever. To pick. So this is the time of year where you're going to hear a lot of information and not very much of it's going to be true at all.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. As a casual fan, hardcore fantasy football player, but casual draft, I don't start paying attention to the draft until after the combine.
After the draft.
I'm one of those. After the draft. I'm like, all right, what are these guys saying about it? What is Wingate saying about this? What's going on? But so there's been a lot of talk already about the quarterbacks. So the hot topic right now going. Of course, they're always the hot topic. You got the elite four guys. Daniel Jeremiah thinks there's about 4 to 5 teams that could be exploring trade up option for a quarterback. So which surprise teams do you guys think maybe could sneak up in there and get one of these Drake Mays or these Caleb Williams types of quarterbacks?
I think that one, it might not be a surprise team, but Washington brought in their offense coordinator to find out more about Caleb Williams. He might not be the offense coordinator the following year. He was singly brought in to get inside information about Caleb Williams. So they're interested in a quarterback. I think the Patriots, there's talks of the Patriots trading back, but I think the Patriots could be a team that's interested because, let's be honest, they're not happy with their situation. Tennessee, I don't think they're the one, but if they like someone enough, we've seen where Arizona took the opportunity and drafted a quarterback right after another. I hate to say it, there's a new regime in Atlanta. Atlanta could do it. The Jets could do it. I don't know how Aaron Rodgers would feel about it, but Aaron Rodgers isn't the future. Finding a future there is the thing. And then you got Minnesota, who we don't know their quarterback situation right now. They could be another team like in the range of going up and getting a quarterback.
Can I ask this question? So there's some talks here in Tampa Bay, especially with Baker Mayfield returning to the team. He just lost his offensive coordinator, went over to Carolina. They've been poaching coaches and talent from Tampa Bay to come over there. Is there a situation where Baker maybe possibly moves on to Carolina? I don't think it's going to happen. And then the Buccaneers can maybe explore to trade up for that franchise quarterback because, man, this has been a franchise that just can't get a quarterback past that first contract.
Yeah. And with them, losing Brady being there for that short time and then, winning the Super Bowl and trying to figure out who's the biggest piece. I think they were happy with the way that he performed this year. I think they want to keep him. I don't think he goes back to Carolina. I can't see that happening. No. The fan base would lose their mind.
They just drafted a number 1 overall quarterback.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there. Atlanta's another team where they can go Raheem Morris, and they need a quarterback very bad, desperately. This is always the fun thing about the draft, especially mid-February. You have no idea what's happening. We haven't seen the combine. We don't really know the interview process yet. Just a good time overall. So the Patriots, you mentioned, were trying to trade down, which is what they do all the time.
Yep.
Are things going to be a little bit differently now that there's different, it seems like, leadership? Of course, Bill's gone. Like, are they going to actually remain the Patriot way? I know this isn't on the sheet, but I'm genuinely curious on your thoughts on that. Coach, you start me off.
I think we're going to see a different route. I don't think that any of those past coaches under the Belichick coaching tree, when they've taken that to the next team, hasn't worked. Yeah. So I really feel like if Mayo is going to be successful, he has to do his own thing. I mean, granted, you want to try and keep some structure like Bill had, but you've got to do it your own way. And you can't we're finding that the old school, Bill Belichick, that hard nosed, kind of thing. They don't want those coaches in the NFL. Those aren't the ones that are getting the jobs right now. So I think we're going to. I believe the Patriots are, they're going to be probably have some down years until they can get all their pieces in place again. But I think he's going to take a different approach.
Yeah.
Josh, I'm going to ask you this because we've had this conversation on the Beer and Sports podcast a ton. We know that I'm a huge mark for star quarterbacks, Mahomes. I mean, if you saw me anywhere, you knew I was betting the Chiefs. You knew I was all on, like, if you give me a Brock Purdy versus a Patrick Mahomes, 100 out of 100 times, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So in the situation where the Patriots are stuck with Mac Jones, I don't see a situation where they trade down and avoid a franchise quarterback. It just doesn't make sense to me in my eyes. Don't you want that top guy? It just was proven last night. Doesn't matter how good your team is.
Yeah.
You need that quarterback.
This was like talking about last night. That was a team of destiny. Like that probably has to be the sweetest Super Bowl win for them just because of how trying that season was and how bad this team was. But it shows that, as you're saying, a great quarterback can take a team anywhere. And with that, I think the Patriots are just saying, look, we're willing to trade down. Send us all the offers because we want to evaluate that now in the process rather than getting into the nitty-gritty and close to the situation of actually drafting a player and not knowing all our scenarios that we can play out. I think that's what they're doing because no one right now is like, I want to trade back. Like your coaches haven't gotten into the film. Your GM probably hasn't gotten into the film. You haven't created your big board as a team. You don't know what you want to do. So it's just, we're trying to gather more information rather than not have the information in this start of the process. But yeah, you can't not have a quarterback at this. Like I was a big Mac Jones guy coming out. I still feel like in the right situation, he could do something. He just has to develop a little bit longer, get him somewhere, develop him. But yeah, you have to get a quarterback if you're the Patriots.
Yeah. Just this whole trying to win a championship without a franchise is not going to happen.
Right. I think the bigger reason that they would maybe move back is because there's a lot of pieces that they need offensively, and that that would be a way to get a lot of picks and stuff. But yeah, if you've got a shot at one of those top three quarterbacks, I can't see you passing up on one of those guys.
I mean, hear me out. You take one of these rookie quarterbacks, whichever one they take, or whichever the one, boom, Mike Evans, free agent. All of a sudden, you got like right there. Your offense can be fixed right there because you already have the foundation of like a good running game. You have some decent tight end talent. And this is just me coming off of a fantasy perspective because that's all I really know. That seems like a really good offense. If you add in like a top end wide receiver, and there's going to be a ton of them out there. So I don't know. Josh, do you want to move on to the prospect
player spotlight?
You like how I cut you off there just to jump into it?
I did. I didn't. I'm the host here. Look at me, Josh.
You asked me, and I just jumped right into it.
Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and skip you, and we're going to go straight over to Coach. Give me your prospect spotlight.
So the tight end that I'm working on today isn't the top.
You have to unmute yourself. Sorry, I played the video, and you have to unmute yourself. So I'm going to play it again, and we're going to restart this. Oh, no, you got to. I don't think he. Okay, we're going to try it one more time.
So you want me to talk over that? I got you.
Yeah, take three.
Got it. My bad. All right, so I'm working on Dalen Hoker. Originally saw him in the Colorado State game at the beginning of the year. I felt he made some big plays. Originally BYU, he transferred to Colorado State. He is 6', 41 pounds. Some of the strengths that we have for him. He's got a very good catch radius. He can catch things over his head. He can reach down and grab things down by his ankles. Has the skills to stand out in the red zone. Strong, reliable hands. Effective in the red zone. capable of making plays. He's very aware of his situation around the first downs, and also the end zone. And then I think he even caught a Hail Mary, a deflection against Boise State to beat them for the first time ever. So he's got some skills to him. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
It seemed just like from those little highlights that Miami Dolphins can use a player like that at the tight end position, man. That's what I'm hounding on all offseason because I need a
That's what I fell in love with this guy. I can see him in that role.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't been able to watch him.
I don't think we're going to. Honestly, Josh, I've just seen highlight film, and I know that's difficult to scout a guy on, but I haven't. That's the only film that I've seen on him.
No, I want to dive into his film, but yeah, he looks like he's got some athletic ability. He can catch the ball, as you said. He has some deep ball ability as well. So I'm excited to jump into him and see what he has.
Yeah.
So, Josh, are you ready for your player spotlight?
Oh, am I ready?
Oh, I'm
so ready.
I
talked about this guy on Twitter, so or X, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to jump into him real quick. Okay, so my guy, Jaheim Bell, Florida State. He's a small guy. He's a lot bigger than me, but he's 6'1", 240-some pounds. If you saw what I put on Twitter about him, I think he can be like a Kyle Juszczyk type player. Really good lead blocker, catches the ball really well, but you can also see him, as you see right here after the catch, really well. But he also runs the ball fairly well as well. So he's got like that running back, fullback, H-back combo. I don't want him in line though. Once you see him in line, that's where he tends to get beaten because again, he's small. He's not going to win with length or anything like that. But I'm really interested in him as like that fullback, tight end, running back combo, like you saw in the Super Bowl with Kyle Juszczyk.
Yes. Hey, if you guys are just now joining us, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are the Fins Talk Sports Network, and this is On the Clock Draft Show, which is here every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tonight is the tight end episode, so if we're breaking down a lot of tight ends, that's the reason why. Guys, leading into that, I want to ask you guys a question and follow up on these players.
Yeah.
But I have a problem with the audience right now. We have 7 viewers right now live, no likes. There's no reason. You're not hitting that like button. Do us a favor. What are you doing? I appreciate it. Thank you so
Kimmel
much.
feel good about being a first-time host of On the Clock Draft Show.
Like I even dressed up.
Yeah, he did.
But,
like normally sleeveless. Like
yes. We can talk about Sanders or Sano right now, but I want to ask you guys this before we get into that, Daniel. Then we'll get there. How do we evaluate tight ends? How difficult it is? Because I heard you talk about Darnell Washington, and he's just pretty much irrelevant. You go into a season like a Kyle Pitts, where he doesn't really show up on tape for the past 2 seasons. Yes, we know he's talented, but when you really break down the tape, he's not separating, he's not getting open. That's just the facts of life. We miss on these tight ends a lot more than we do hit on these tight ends. Like, what makes you think? Like when you see a talent in a tight end position, what makes you think? What's the giveaways for us casuals who know nothing?
I mean, for me, ultimately, one of the big things I look for in a tight end is their ability to block. I want a guy that and I can't think of his name right now, but the old tight end for the Dolphins, that's now I believe with the Patriots.
Gesicki.
Yeah, Gesicki. Like. He couldn't block to save his life. So Miami is like, we're not even going to try and block with him. We're just going to, every time, send him out on a pass play.
Yeah.
You become one-dimensional in offense when he's out there. So I want someone that can move around in the offense, play the H-back, play in-line. In-line's just your traditional tight end position where you're on the line like a linebacker or offensive lineman. H-back is when you're back on the line a little bit. And then you're split out wide, you're playing in the backfield, things of that nature. I want someone that can move around. But ultimately, I want someone that when they try to block, they show effort. They show strong hands where they're putting a little shock onto the player when they hit them. But then ultimately, I want someone that can find in the pass game soft spots. I want someone that has reliable hands and someone that gets big And when the quarterback rolls out, the tight end follows, because that tight end is supposed to be a safety net for that quarterback. I want him to play like that. And let's hit on these players that you talked about. Kyle Pitts, I think we see in Atlanta, they just don't know how to utilize players.
Yeah.
I also said in that process, I think Kyle Pitts is more of a receiver than a tight end. They keep trying to play him and do tight end things. We didn't make him a receiver. And then Darnell Washington, he has the injury issues, so that's why he fell in the draft. But you throw on Pittsburgh tape, he's one of the best blockers as a tight end in the NFL today. That guy dominates in the blocking game. If he doesn't work out at tight end, you can 100% try him out at left tackle, and he'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everything that Josh said. I mean, it really is, in my opinion, as teams are looking at these guys, it's like, what are you going to use them for? Do you want somebody who's more of a receiving guy or somebody who's more a blocking guy? Or do you want a good combination of both? I agree with Josh that I feel like Pitts could be a weapon, but then put him in that weapon role instead of trying to get him to block. So that's where I have Dalen as far as I haven't seen film. His highlights are all catching, so I haven't been able to see him in the blocking aspect yet. But that's where that's where you've got to figure out as a team what is our goal for Miami to take that next step. And according to Greg Olson, who had a conversation with Mike McDaniel, that's the third step to this offense now, is trying to find a tight end that's going to fit that role that can do both.
Well, let's lead into that in the position spotlight, Josh.
Player rankings per position.
So let's discuss this Miami tight end situation, because it's on my mind. It's been nuts ever since they let Gesicki go. I understand why they did it, but man, coach, gotta let me know, man. You get it. I think the guy, this other bum that they got it rolling out, he's not the guy. We need some talent. In Miami,
I agree, and that's why I feel like this is a good tight end class. I mean, last year was a great tight end class to grab, to grab one or two. But I feel like the Dolphins have to go tight end at some point.
Yeah.
I think a strong need is at center, and a strong need is at offensive line, and then also tight end. I think you have to have that. I mean, just watch the Super Bowl and just see how, like Josh is saying, Kelsey can just find the soft zone where, Mahomes can just, and there's nobody around him. Like he run all over the place. The next thing you know, he's standing in the middle of the field, and that's kind of where Tua is not the best, is in the middle of the field. So if you can find that one weapon that we can just get him in the middle, break some of those, as that third weapon that can be used, I think we would be much better off with Smythe. I liked Smythe coming out, but I wasn't real big on him because I knew there were other better tight ends coming out. But I do think that we need more of a weapon type. He's more of a blocker.
Yeah. I think there are those types of weapons in this draft. But I agree. I think Tua would greatly we'll find value out of just having a tight end, having that safety net, because he hasn't had that through his career. And we see these quarterbacks in the NFL today, like tight end wasn't really used, but it's just becoming such a mainstream position that you need to have them to help your quarterback. And I think Tua has missed that in his progression as a quarterback, of having that safety net of, okay, these guys aren't open right away. Where's my tight end, the guy that's supposed to find that soft zone in the defense? And then if I have to roll out, that guy that's going to follow me, so I can just dump it off to him real quick.
Yeah.
So I just think it's such a valuable position. And as I said earlier, it's going to open up this offense to another dimension, because you do have these fast guys on the outside, and this offense is speed. Let's get a little power in there too, with a nice, good-sized tight end as well.
Yeah,
would like to see that. So I really fear that just like the Dolphins running back attempts throughout the years in the draft, they're just going to try to hold off until that Javonte Williams gets picked, or that not whoever, that Javonte pick still pisses me off to this day. Like they just wait until they can't get their guy. Then they're stuck with the 32-year-old Raheem Mostert, and we saw how that went. Which he had a good season. Congratulations. I mean,
Javonte Williams would be nice in this offense.
That was like that was. If people ask me all the time, what's the draft pick that pisses you off the most? That one, because you waited, it was right in front of you. But man, I don't even know where to go now. Oh yeah, ranking top tight end. So can we get a top tight end ranking class, Josh?
Yeah, definitely. So as you can see, this is my top 5 tight ends in this year's draft. Number 1, I think we're all going to have number 1 Brock Bowers. He's just one. He's from Georgia, so you know what to expect in that situation. But since his freshman year, he has just been dynamic. He scored many touchdowns just going over the top. His high ball is it's perfect. He can go up and get the ball, climb the ladder. It's a beautiful thing. He's had multiple 20-plus end around for a touchdown as well. He plays, as I said earlier, in line, H-back. He'll go into the backfield. He'll split out wide. He'll do it all. He's very versatile as a tight end, but he also is a very willing blocker. So you're getting a complete package tight end with him. Ben Sinnott, a lot of people are like, whoa, why is Ben Sinnott number 2? There's this guy from Texas that's not even on your list that should be there. Ben Sinnott is just another one of those tight ends that blocks, has soft hands, finds the soft zone. He's just a really, really good tight end. And he's a guy, I believe I have a round 2 grade on him. So as I'm going through this, I have a first round grade, I have a second round grade. I have 3 third round grades, 2 fourth round grades, and 2 fifth round grades on these guys. So he's at that next tier. Ben Sinnott, Brock Bowers are 2 of my favorite guys. And then we're getting into my third round grades here of Brevin Spanford. He's another guy that really good blocker. He's a big dude. He's 6'6", I think almost 6'7", 264 pounds. So he's a full presence. And this year, actually, like before when we were talking about it on previous shows, I was like, he's not going to go deep on you. He's just going to find that soft zone, catch the ball, and then run with it. He'll surprise you. He has some speed to him. He can run deep, catch the ball, really good. And then Jaheim Bell, we talked about him earlier. I like him as like that H-back fullback. And then Cade Stover, another guy, blocks well, catches well. Think of him as a Jake Ferguson type as you're going through this process. I really like him. Ooh. There we go.
Pretty good list.
All right. So I think the only difference I have is I have Jatavian Sanders and then Dalton Holker. And I would agree. Jatavian Sanders to me, he feels very freakish when I watch him. Now he does have, I agree with Josh with some of the negative things that he has said. He's not the best blocker in the world and stuff, but he has potential there. Dallin Hooker is kind of my tight end crush right now. I mean, if there's any way if Brock Bowers falls to the Dolphins at 21, if we're not sprinting to the podium with that pick, and then you add Jaheim Bell to the Dolphins offense, kind of that gadget tight end. He can block. We don't want him blocking a whole lot, but if you need to put him in there for a little bit, but then also they had him at running back, they had him at fullback, they had him at tight end when I was watching Florida State, and he looked like it looked kind of like a bit of the Dolphins offense coming too. So. And then you have, with Brevin Spanford, he's that red zone target, that 6'6" body. Catching touchdowns is a nice thing to have too. So those are my top 5 that I rolled with.
Yeah, and speaking to that Jatavian Sanders, there's 2 things that I saw. He didn't block very well. He wasn't a willing blocker. Actually, 3 things. Not a willing blocker. His motor wasn't there all the way for me. He took some plays off, which was obvious. And then also he struggled to separate. Like this freakish athlete, why is he not getting more of a separation on linebackers and safeties? If you can't do that at the college level, what are you going to do at the NFL? And that's why he dropped on my board a little bit.
Man, Brock Bowers would be amazing in Miami, but don't get your hopes up. It's not going to happen. Hey, I just want to give a little thanks out there. Jamaican from Zion, JFZ, thank you for smashing that like button. Be like Jamaican from Zion. Everyone smash that like button. We are on the Clock Draft Show presented by the Finstock Sports Network. We are going to move on to the War Room mock. I heard this is the most important part of the show. I'm hyped for it. Josh, I really want to see it.
This is our first ever, isn't it, Josh?
Yeah, it's the first ever. We're first time doing this, so I'm excited about it.
Team Mock Draft Simulator.
Okay, so I'm going to set it up.
Before we get into this, Josh, I want to answer my boy Anthony Manzano because that's my dude. If Anthony follows OUS Fantasy Wednesday nights, by the way, 8 p.m. We are taking a little break because of the off season. But Anthony, he wants to know: do you think Brock Bauer might be the only guy Greer would trade up for?
Oh, I don't know.
Unless, and we know it's not going to happen, Josh. But if there was some crazy way that like Joe Alt or one of the top 2 tackles were to fall a little bit, I could see him making that one, especially since we don't know what's going on with
a trade up in Miami is kind of like pipe dreams, right? They don't have the assets to actually trade up. Exactly. I think it's more likely to see a trade down than a trade up. And I also think it's more likely that Miami doesn't have a first round pick this year because they traded off to someone else because they want a veteran, and that's what Greer likes to do. So that's what I say.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think they're gonna move up.
Okay, so we're gonna set this up. We have a situation here. We're on the clock right now, and the draft's gone this way. Marvin Harrison Jr. went first overall. They want to stick with. Yeah.
So this is a war room that's already like in your head. We came up with a scenario.
This is draft day.
All right, so it's draft
day.
Everyone watching, I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page in the comment section, the chat. Guys, this is a simulator that we've already come up with.
It's 2020.
Squad,
we're all remote.
Right? Yeah.
And you're watching it this way.
And then these are the players taken off the board. We're at pick 20. Pittsburgh's on the clock. Now, Josh, you may proceed.
Yeah, so in this situation, you're next on the clock. You got to start talking about who's on the board, situations you're thinking of. Is there a player that we're willing to trade up right now? We see our best available. We see who's taken off the board. Is there someone right now that you're like, this is a guy that's going to change our offense, our defense? They're like, we need to have. Are you looking to move up, or you're just like, let's just stay pat and pick the guy that comes?
I got a question.
Yeah.
There's a real guy named Kool-Aid.
Yes. Kool-Aid McKinstry.
That's fucking cool. I'm taking it.
I don't care how anything falls out. I'm going to take Kool-Aid.
That guy's awesome. All right. So get back into the seriousness, Josh.
Yeah, no, I mean, so Anthony in here is saying he'd rather go. He wants to go get Bo Nix. He's not a Tua believer. I know Josh Kimball's like, Anthony, you're my guy. I'm a Tua guy. But Coach Vogel, what are you thinking in this process right now? You see who's on there. You see are you staying pat, or are you trying to move up?
No, I'm gonna stay pat because with me being an O-line guy and us needing to retool our offensive line, there's 2 studs on there in my opinion, Fatano and Jackson Powers Johnson. So I would prefer one of those guys. And if one leaves, then you do have Keon Coleman who's pretty high, and Brian Thomas Jr. too at receiver. Yeah. So if we want another weapon, I think there's plenty on the board to choose from.
Definitely. And Kimmel, you might not know these players, but as a Dolphins fan, what do you think?
Position wise.
So, what's funny is I'm going down the list. I'm like, okay, I know Marvin Harrison, I know Caleb, I know Neighbors, I know Bowers. I know like 7 of these players.
Yeah.
What I'm saying right here is all of these people asking for Bo Nix or Penix and all this stuff, to me, to reset a franchise right now makes 0 sense. So I'm not interested at the quarterback position. Makes 0 sense to reset right now. Let's work with what we have. I think they need help in the secondary. Kool-Aid's a joke, right? Like that was funny, but no, for real. If he's a legit player, they do need help in the secondary, in my opinion. I've seen this team give up too many big plays. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just a fantasy guy, but that's what my observation was. Wow, they give up a lot of big plays, and that's uncalled for sometimes. But they still need to protect that line. And I don't really know if this Troy Fonatu guy is going to help out. But honestly, that's what I'm looking at: O-line or secondary help.
Yeah.
So Troy Fontanu, I've been calling him Elijah Vera Tucker. If you remember a couple years back, I was a big Elijah Vera Tucker guy. Jackson Power Johnson reminds me a lot of Jason Kelsey. He's like that white guy athletically that's just like stiff hip running around, but he's super powerful. He gets outside. He's good. But it doesn't even matter because we have a trade that came in. Philadelphia traded up with the Pittsburgh Steelers and drafts Jackson Powers Johnson, center at Oregon, because they saw that we were on the board after him, and they wanted to get their guy. So
replacement.
They went up and got their guy. Jason Kelsey retired. We don't know officially because they're playing with us in this scenario. But Jason Kelsey could very well retire. They just find his replacement right there. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's Philadelphia doing what Philadelphia does. I mean, they build the trenches like nobody's business. So, I mean, if the draft plays out like this, and the one team that I'm concerned about moving up to taking Powers Johnson would be Philadelphia. But as far as I'm concerned, we still have offensive tackle guard on the board that we're both kind of high on Josh.
Yeah.
So I'm good there, and I also agree with Kimmel that we're probably going to be losing some of that DB depth we have right now. Yeah.
In order to get under the cap, you need to lose some of this.
Yeah. So, and I wouldn't mind getting younger in the backfield, defensive backfield also.
Yeah. So with that, what are we thinking about doing here? If we had to have this conversation, we're on the clock's running. We're talking Troy Fontanu, Kool-Aid McKinstry's on there. I mean, how confident are we with our right tackle? And then also the future of our left tackle. We have a guy on the board right now, Amarius Mims, who is an absolute freak of an athlete who could start out at right tackle if our guy decides to play. And then we can then move over and have Mims take over at left tackle for us.
Yeah, well, now that we have Jackson Powers Johnson off the board, I was going to say if we were able to pick him, moving the center that we have now, moving him to guard, but that's going to be a spot that we're probably going to need to shore up. But then also the Amarius Mims. So I like either one of the offensive linemen at 21.
Yeah, so Anthony said that he feels like we need a safety. We're losing Deshaun Elliott, Brandon Jones, and he thinks Kitchens could be the safety that comes in for Miami, who would make a lot more sense for him. Daniel, part of the war room here, is saying he's taking Fontanu. He thinks offensive tackle, and Bobby as well is saying Fontanu as well. So we have that coming through. And
Bobby is part of our war room,
but we have a call coming through. So we got to answer that. So we now have a trade offer that has popped up on the board. So we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wanting to move up. They say they want to go get Bo Nix because we asked them who they want. And they're willing to give us a 26 overall, which means we move back 5 spots. And they also give us their 89th overall, which is a 3rd round pick.
And we don't have any of those.
Yeah. And we have to give up our 5th round pick, 157th overall. What are we feeling about this trade offer in this situation here?
Well, like in last week's episode, we keep talking about the more top 100 picks we can have, the better off.
Yeah.
I think moving down, 5 spots, there's plenty of guys that we need that our draft board has. So I'm going to accept it so I can get 2 top 100 picks
I'm interested in what the chat wants to do because you guys are a part of this war room as well.
That's right.
And so my thought process is we have Troy Fontanu on here. Fontanu.
Yep.
We have Amarius
Fontanu,
Mims. We're moving down 5. We've already been told that Bo Nix is being taken by Tampa Bay. So we don't have to worry about that. After that, we have the Steelers. They could use offensive line help, but they could also probably use center help or not center, corner help, defensive help.
Yeah.
Maybe a Chop Robinson or something like that.
Right.
So I'm 2 picks out of the 3, and I'm still feeling pretty confident I'm going to get my offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So with that, everyone is saying trade down. And then Anthony's saying he's not sure if it's a reach or too soon, but possibly a Zach Frazier.
And my thing, Anthony, is I'm very high on Zach Frazier too. And depending on how the rest of it goes, I would probably take a guard or tackle here and then see if he's available at 89. If he's available at 89, then I'm taking him for sure.
Yeah. And then Bobby's saying trade down. So we're going to accept this trade. So we're going to run with that. And we have, and I keep having Bobby in the way here. Tampa Bay moved up. We accepted the trade. They got Bo Nix, and they send their first and third to us. You're on mute, Kimmel, by the way.
All that.
You're back.
Earlier in the show, I said Tampa Bay's trading up for a quarterback. Bingo.
Yep.
You're right.
So they send their first and third to Miami to move up 5 spots and get the quarterback of their future. And as you were saying that, I'm like, yes, you're just playing into this little role play here that I'm pumped about.
I had no knowledge of that, people. Zero knowledge of this.
No, you did not. You literally had no knowledge. So there's that. They took Bo Nix. We moved back down to 26. And then the draft goes. We're now back on the clock. The Steelers took Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa. Troy Fontanu went to the Texans at 23. And then Graham Barton, the center guard tackle out of Duke, went to the Cowboys. And then Kool-Aid McKinstry, the cornerback out of Alabama, went to Green Bay because there's a little weird situation going on with their cornerbacks. They need to add in a new one just in case anything happened.
Yeah.
But we're on the clock.
Right.
What do we think about the guys that are available right now?
And again, I still like I like either one of those offensive tackles, honestly. So I'm interested to see what everybody else has to say about that.
We're looking at tackle. Are we zoning in just on the position or Brian Thomas Jr.? We don't know how much longer Tyreek has. And Brian Thomas Jr. could be the guy that comes in, plays that third receiver role really well for us. And then as Tyreek comes out of this offense, we just move everyone up and it's just a seamless transition.
Yeah.
Keon Coleman, he's a really good receiver, but he adds some size to this offense.
Yeah.
So he could be really good as well. And then we also have, I believe it was Anthony's guy when he mentioned over here of Kitchens, Cameron Kitchens, the safety. They are losing to Sean Elliott and Brandon Jones. So bringing in that safety could be valuable. Would love to hear what everyone has to say about this one. Anthony is saying, even though he mentioned Cameron Kitchens before, he forgot about Tyler Guyton, and he's a huge Tyler Guyton guy. So what are we thinking, Kimmel?
Going with my boy Anthony. Tyler Guyton's my guy. Seriously, anything with help this offensive line.
Big dude at the Senior Bowl, 6'7", I think 330 pounds.
Let me ask you. So I don't follow offensive linemen, and I've understood this, and maybe a lot of you guys have this problem in the chat. Once a player is deemed something on draft day, whatever they're deemed as, like Jaleel Peppers, remember him, or a player like that, like he's always in my mind going to be some dynamic defensive player who's awesome, no matter what. I have no idea what he's doing today. So what I'm bringing this up as this Chad Penning guy from the Senior Bowl we went to, where I called him a little B word. Remember I called him the B word? Yeah. Is he doing good?
Yeah.
Or is he trash like I thought he was?
He's not trash. He's playing well. Did he go to Tennessee?
No idea.
Who is it? Who are we talking about?
Pennington?
Chad Pennington?
No.
I was going to say Chad Pennington
he was a good quarterback.
While back,
yeah. That's who I compared Tua to.
Because I have a problem. That's my problem with the draft prospect, guys. I have no idea how to evaluate these guys.
After offensive line, at least.
I don't.
You followed like the core position.
That's why I watch this show. I'm not even kidding. I watch every single Monday night since it's been going on because I have no idea what's going on. I'm learning from you guys. You guys are the best.
Yeah.
So
Bobby, Bobby knows this stuff too. Guys, I'm just here to steer the ship, but I'm really upset my boy Kool-Aid got taken. I'm really upset, Josh. You did that on purpose. I know you did.
I know. I heard you say that, and I just went in there real quick. Kool-Aid gone. So this is my thought. We talked to. It's hard to pass up Brian Thomas Jr. because I think he's potentially a top 20 pick in this draft. Yeah. The receivers are really good.
26, yeah.
The receivers are really good, but
Kitchens.
If I can get one of those top guys, Cameron Kitchens. I think there's some really good late safeties in this draft. The offensive line position, feel like there's really good top tier guys, and then there's just like this cliff that they just fall off if you don't get them early. You're just getting that like third wave of. I don't think there's a second wave. I think there goes that first wave and then the third wave of offensive linemen. And I think Amarius Mims might be the guy here. But you could easily talk me into a Tyler Guyton. So we've had some guys. Buda Baker for Kitchens with better coverage skills and more versatile. I mean, you're talking about a Troy Polamalu at that point. So if that's your,
Buda Baker.
Vogel, what do you think of if I haven't watched Kitchens? If that's the conversation, like you have to go Kitchens at that point. And we also have another Kitchens. So the chat is thinking that we need to go with Kitchens here. Are we against that at all?
Tell you, we needed that. You can't win games without the trenches. That's why.
I'm a big believer in the trenches. I'm
banging hard for either Amarius Mims or Tyler Guyton. I can take either one of those guys and be very happy. Daniel says no tackles.
Yeah. No tackles. Go with Kitchens. I think you can make do with what you have at defense right now. What you have at offensive line, you can't even put out an entire offensive line right now.
That's my issue. We didn't have the same combination from start to finish. Like every week there was a different plug and play, and it just
So Kimmel,
you're
the decision maker. We have one side of the war room talking. Let's go safety. We're over here. Let's just take one of these tackles, Amarius Mims, Tyler Guyton. What are you doing? You're the decision maker. You're calling in the pick.
I'm calling in the pick. This is a lot of pressure for a guy who doesn't really follow college sports.
Yeah,
So just going off of what you're saying, guys, how could you pass up on a top 20 pick in Brian Thomas Jr.? But I'm not going to do that for my, I would much prefer to have fantasy points scored. But let's go Kitchens, man. What I say at the beginning of this whole process, Miami's lacking the secondary. I truly believe that. And I think Kitchens would be, if he's the next Buda Baker, yada, 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 got to go there. The receiver position is such a fluid position. You can get any guy off the street now to perform. Seriously? Like, legitimately? Why do you have Marvin Harrison Jr. going 1? I have a problem with that.
I just ran a
You really think he's going
simulator.
number 1?
I ran a draft simulator, and he went number 1.
All right.
So these aren't my picks. These are the picks of a draft simulator. But yeah, I'm down with that. So we're calling in Cameron Kitchens. We're going to be going down there and saying the pick is in. The Miami Dolphins select Cameron Kitchens, safety.
And every time he makes a play, we're going to say, let's get cooking.
Yeah.
Can you say that, Josh? Let's get cooking.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. I'm in Dallas over here. Like, I guess they're cooking.
I guess he's cooking. Whatever.
I guess they're having what is it? Mahi tonight.
Is that what people in Miami eat?
Yeah,
apparently.
dolphin.
Do we? Okay. Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
I've been to Miami once or twice. They don't eat a lot of. Well, actually, they do eat a lot of fish. I swear to God, they do. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. Thank you for everyone for watching, for viewing. We're here every single Monday night. Usually we have Bobby. I'm sorry that I'm here. I really do apologize for that, but I did my best. So appreciate you dropping that like button on the way out. Seriously, guys, 10 people in here still, or women, who knows? Just drop that like button. It really helps out the show. And these guys do a lot of work in this process to put these boards together. I know I was making, having fun over here, but Josh and Coach do a lot of work putting the show together. Way more than my show, by the way. Wednesday night OUS Fantasy Football Podcast live on the Finstock Sports Network. You can follow me at Josh Kimmel OUS. Follow Josh Wingate 302, and of course Fins Fan 72, Coach Vogel, and most importantly, the show at Finstock Sports Network. Everywhere, X, Instagram, probably. Where else, Josh? You say it better. You say it better than I do.
Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, or X, or Facebook. Wherever you like to intake your social media.
That's right.
What do we got going on next week? Is it the receiver show?
I don't think it's decided yet. So we did linebackers. We did.
Did we do offensive line first?
We did offensive line. We did linebackers. We went to tight end. So now we're going to go on the defensive side. We leave that up to Bobby, but I'm going to call an audible here, and let's go interior. Let's go defensive tackles, because I think that's a need of Miami. So we're gonna do the defensive tackles next week.
Anthony wants you to answer one more question. Can we do that before we go? Can we do that before we log off, Bobby?
Okay. Read my last comment. What is the trade value chart trading up to 232 from 54? And I have to go and look up the trade value chart here.
Anthony.
But from 54, you're looking at a good amount. So Miami is at, right now it looks like I might not have updated information, but it looks like Cleveland has 54. But 32 is going to be about 200. About 230 points. So you're looking at a third round pick, a high third round pick at that. So technically you're looking at 72 of the third round.
Perfect. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Daniel, thank you for being part of the show tonight. Anthony, as always.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep doing these war room situations. We would love for you guys to get involved in it and keep it going. And if you have a situation, DM me on Twitter, slide into my DMs, give me your situation, and we'll run your situation through, and see what we do. So we definitely appreciate it.
All right. Until next week, guys. Peace out.